Let's now look at some other scenarios playing out. Is this issue of zoning and the agitation now to Kogi State in north-central region of the country, where there's been growing agitation and very strong advocacy and clamor for a power shift to the Kogi West Senatorial District of the state ahead of the governorship election, which is being slated for November of this year. Tonight I have joining me the President General of the Okun Development Association, Mr. Femi Makikon. Thank you so much indeed for coming tonight.
Thank you very much, Sheila, for having me.
Thank you so much.
My pleasure.
Why now? I mean, I know about 4 years ago, this agitation also came up about an Okun person or a Kogi West person to be the governor of Kogi State. And I know that different group in Kogi State. But now, leaders of Kogi West, such as yourself and many others, are now standing up and speaking up about this. Why now?
Thank you very much, Sheila. The agitation didn't start in 2015. As a matter of fact, 2019, 4 years ago, it predated the 2015 election. As at that time, of course, like every other state in Nigeria, 3 senatorial districts. The East Senatorial District had government non-interrupted for 16 years. Before then, there was a dispensation, which they also managed.
The Kogi East are predominantly people of Igala?
Yes.
Okay.
They were in power as governor for 16 uninterrupted years, back to back. Mm-hmm. Before then, they also had some stint before the military came in shortly. And then finally, we had this that we have enjoyed up
since 1999.
Yes. And in 2015, that trend will have continued. Of course, the Central and the West.
So if the late Audu
had not passed on, that trend will have continued.
He was an Igala man too.
He was an Igala man.
Okay.
And that will have given the East 27 years uninterrupted of governance. There is no God in his infinite mercy. May God bless his soul, give him eternal rest. The Central now had to take over.
Which is Governor Yahaya Bello.
Before then,
what stock is it from? It's from the Kogi Central.
Yes.
He's an Ibira man.
Yes.
Yeah. Which is another predominant ethnic group.
You know the way we are structured.
Yeah.
The East, by Nigerian population, has the highest population in Kogi, followed by
the Central.
No, by the West.
The West.
And then the Central. Of course, some people will say the Central and the West. But when it comes to political voting patterns, in terms of number of wards, the East followed by the West, and then followed by the West, and then by the Central. The two of us started working together. That's Central and West. Let's appeal to our brethren in the East. In their own self-enlightened interest, let's allow rotation to take place. Power shift as at that time was because it has been domiciled in that place for several years. Let it shift to this side. Now that it's shifted by divine intervention
to Central.
By the end of our current governor's tenure, he will have spent 8 years. If it doesn't shift to the West, what it means is one of two things. It's either it will be retained in the Central, which will then give them another round of 8 years, meaning 16 years.
Or 4 years, as the case may be.
4 years, of course, we know the way these things work. 16 years. Why were we complaining about the East? If, because they spent 16 years, both of us worked together and said, let us shift it to the Central or to the West. But God gave it to the Central. It is now, we are not asking for it because we feel we are entitled to it. We are agitating for it because it is the right thing to do. It is the only fair thing. It is the just thing to do. If indeed we want to create that sense of belonging amongst all of us. There are states in Nigeria that have similar structure. A good example that I know very well is Niger State. But what they do, they make sure they rotate. Even senatorial, They rotate.
In North Central,
I'm sure you know a lot of you know this thing more than myself because of the nature of your job.
Absolutely.
So you know the number
in the North Central region. There's that is very prevalent, and there's a lot of agitation, not only in Kogi State, about an issue of power shift, and it's become a major problem. So now, in this all of these years,
yes,
you've had a situation where someone from Kogi West had been deputy governor, at least about twice or so, isn't it?
Yes. You see, Sheun, with the highest respect, sense of respect for all of those people who go for deputy, you know it yourself. Some people have defined deputy governors as spare tire. If your car tire does not have a puncture, what do you do with the spare tire? Practically nothing. The deputy governor can only do as much as the governor allows him to do. And you know instances of governors and deputies that are not on the same page most times. And then what happens? Either they impeach or whatever. We are not asking for deputy governorship. We've had enough of it. Let another zone also try deputy governorship. As I said, we are not asking for it because we are entitled. We know we have competent people. In fact, in the First Republic, when it was still Northern Region, Southern Region, and the rest, Okun people provided the bulk of the people that worked in the Northern Region. As of today, Okun people are all over the world doing great things. I lived my life in the private sector. I know several entrepreneurs. Once they hear you are an Okun man, they praise God. Because of our attitude to work, the diligence we bring to the job, and the loyalty we demonstrate. So it's not about we don't have the candidates. We have them in abundance. But for fairness, let them put themselves in our position. If it doesn't go to the central, it will then go to the east. If they don't bring it to the west. If it goes to the east, already they have 16, 19 years, so to say. Add another 8 to it. You may then add another 8. And it could be going as far as to what we don't want to describe. So I think it is the interest of all of us, whether it is in the west, in the east, or in the central, for them to, in a way, agree that Okun's and Kogi West should produce the governor this time around. And I can tell you, if they give it a trial, 4 years, we put them in a position to be asking, why did we not do this years back?
I know, you're referring to Okun to refer to the Kogi West people. I know there are the Yagbas, there are the
Ijumus, the Bonos, the Owes.
Within the Kogi West.
Yes.
But, when I was speaking with some of the leaders of your group, you are apolitical. You don't belong to any political. Your association is apolitical. We
have members from all the parties in our association.
So we'll go on a break, and I'd like everyone to understand where you're coming from and the position that you are having ahead of, because most of the political parties are having their primaries in the next few days. And we'll go on a break, and when we come back, we'll look into what this means. A lot of people say the story of Kogi State is like microcosm of the macrocosm. It's a little story of the bigger picture of Nigeria. Yes. We'll be seeing how that plays out when we come back from this break. Stay with me, everyone. We'll be right back. With us right on the program. So the conversation is about Kogi State. And there are those in the state, especially the Kogi West Senatorial District, where you have the likes of Tunde Ogbea, David Jemi Benwon, Shola Akomode. That's the senatorial district where you find these people come from. And the leaders in that region are asking that they've never had a shot at the governorship seat in Kogi State, and they want a power shift. So one of the leaders, the President General of the Kogi and the Okun Development Association, Mr. Femi Makikon, has been speaking with us right on the program. So, and I was asking earlier before we went on that break that your association he's not talking about any political party, because I know there is the Honorable Abejide in ADC, who is from Kogi West. There is the Dino Melaye from Kogi West in PDP. There's Smart Adeyemi in the APC, and a host of them.
Yes.
And so these are sons of Kogi West. But how do you convince, for example, an Ibira man or an Igala man that really, because politics is about the numbers.
Yes.
So if you say you are deserving of having that seat, you need to be able to convince them by the numbers and what you're bringing to the table.
Right.
Because this is politics, this is not emotion.
This is politics. And the truth of it is, there's not a single one of the 3 senatorial districts that on its own deliver governor for Kogi State. You have to build bridges. Part-time with 1 or 2, eventually you deliver. We recognize that fact. If we have, up to this moment, been supportive of people from the East, people from the West, I know what we went through in 2019. The moment Governor Yahaya Bello came into office in 2015, we all celebrated it. We got to 2019, it was a tough challenge because people were feeling that, no, the West has had it, the Central has had it, let it go back to the East. And we went together and said, let this continue. Because in this state, if we don't allow the 3 components to have this sense of belonging, regardless of the amount of resources that we have, we will not make progress. And that's what we are suffering today. So in terms of the number, you see, if they put themselves in our own position, it will not be too difficult to get them persuaded. For instance, PDP, they have 3 candidates from our side. APC has 3 candidates from our side. The other parties you mentioned, ADC, Leke is the only one. AA, Niyi Ibrahimo is the only one. NNPP, only one, Felix Oni. When you put these 3, we don't have issues with their parties. The issues all these 3 are from our Kogi West. The ones we are appealing to, PDP and APC. If they can get it to that point where all the candidates come from our side, the rest is easy. Why did I say it is easy? All those people you mentioned and the ones you did not mention, all of us will come together and make sure that you've seen the way things work. Even this last election, there were people in PDP that worked for the success of APC presidential candidate and vice versa. The moment we get to that point, our goal for now, let's have all the candidates coming from our side. If that happens, of course, it will be very easy to then when we get to the general election, to make it work in our favor.
Mr. Makikon, so there are those who say, look, what does governor coming from you say, what does he do for a people? I mean, why not talk about competence, capacity, instead of thinking about this concept of let it come to our side, our local kind of idea that you are clamoring for?
Thank you very much. That's why I said it is not about our local. No, it is not entitlement. It is about what is fair, what is just, what will keep us together in peace. More than that is the fact that when you talk of competence, character, integrity, when you talk of all those ones, they reside in Okun before going to any other place. I can guarantee that. As I told one elderly man, he owns a chain of companies in this country. The day he got to know that I came from Okun, he grabbed me, old man, what's the issue? He had some Okun people working with him, and that of all the groups, those guys were the best, most reliable. So it's not a question of we don't have competence, we have all of it in large number, everywhere. This Kogi West we are talking about, Okun extends to Ekiti, extends to Kwara State. Big enough to form a state of its own. If we are a state of now, won't we be talking of governors? Ekiti State, governor, any governor coming from Ekiti is an Ekiti man. So if we have Okun as a state, we won't be talking of rotation. So in terms of competence, we are not Nobody is questioning that at all.
You're not in support of that.
Even the two senatorial districts, they are not questioning that.
But have they agreed? Have the leaders? Because I know there was a time that, in fact, the leaders, the highest traditional leader in Ibira land was consulted about this issue. I know there was a time also in Igala land, there was the highest traditional title holder in that place was also consulted. But has there been a unanimous or an agreement in Okun or the Kogi West area, and how you want to have a common front in appealing to the sensibilities and the leaders of the other regions of your state or other parts of your state to see that you achieve your aim and objective?
We have been doing that because we know that without that...
Is there a consensus? Have they agreed with you?
There are two levels. There are two levels. At the leadership level, one thing, but individual level. For instance, the leaders will say, yes, we agreed. But you see, as some individuals, you have done your own, it doesn't concern me. They will still come out and say they want to contest. It is both the two of them that we are addressing. The leadership, by and large, in principle, because we hold different meetings. Central, Kogi West, they meet. East, Kogi West, they meet on the same goal. So by and large, we are in agreement. But the challenge is, the moment they go to the primaries, we drop off because we don't have control over delegates. And the stories we are hearing today, in terms of which list, which is not the list, we don't know how far it will go. But we are pleading and appealing that those delegates should allow the same principles that we are talking about. For instance, how did the presidency come to the South? The northern governors agreed that if this country must continue to remain united, it's only fair that we allow the North, the South, to produce the governor. That same principle is what should come down to Kogi State and say, if we have had it for 16 years, 19 years, we have had it for 8 years, we complain about people who had it for 16 years. It's only fair that we allow the West to have a go at it. If the West has a go at it and they don't do well, you'll be justified to say, second time, don't even allow it. Not to talk of another round. But I can guarantee what that state is waiting for is somebody from the West.
In Kogi, in Benue State, for example, if you ask them, you have about the Sonsi and Sundi and, you know, the ethnic stock in Benue State, and how this became a very major conversation of the leaders of the different associations in the state before the 2023 election. But in the real sense, you have said that your problem is APC and PDP. Have you reached out to the leaders of these parties?
We have.
And what are they telling you?
At the PDP level, we've been on it, for, as I said, not just today. For the past 2 years, I've been on the field, running around, along with some other eminent leaders, particularly those of them that are practicing politicians. I'm not a politician. If I am, I can't head this organization because it's an umbrella body for all politicians. And they have managed to reach a consensus on which direction they will go. At least the feedback we get. APC, we work together believing that come 2023, it will not be, there will be nothing to discuss. But along the line, the feelers we are getting is not very positive. And that is why all this coming out to appeal not only to Nigerians, not only to people from the East, but to even the power holders, that if they can influence it, which we know they can, they should influence it in such a way the state should continue to remain stable, peaceful, and in oneness.
Right.
So that those resources that we have, we can harness them. The candidates, there's no candidate they bring that is from Okun, because we have done our own homework too, as regards this candidate. Not one of them is short of minimum standard. But we are not even presenting minimum. We are going for the maximum. And they will get it there.
All right. Kogi State, North Central Nigeria, is one of the 3 states that will be holding governorship election on the 15th of November this year. Imo, Bayelsa, and Kogi State. And what Mr. Makiko has been talking about is not alien to our politics. We've seen it happen in fact, several parts of the North Central region. Benue, Kogi, Kwara, Plateau, I mean, several other parts of the country, even Nasarawa State. You see all of these politics on the inside the state play out. And I wish you and your fellow Kogi West people the very best.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Mr. Femi Makiko.
Thank you very much.
The President General of the Okun Development Association of Kogi State. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much.